So if there's one genre that's absolutely dominating this fall, it's the romance genre, which means all you lonely souls out there are probably feeling extra single right now. But don't worry, I am here to make things even worse. So without wasting any more time, let's dive straight into... Actually, before we start, let me introduce you to something that honestly feels like it belongs on this list. A world where myths, fairy tales, and legends collide, and yes, it's as wild as it sounds. It's called Cherry Tail, a brand new adult fantasy game exclusively available on Arrow Labs. And trust me, this one's built different. Cherry Tail isn't just another anime-style game, it's a living storybook for adults, with fully voiced Japanese characters and stunning animation that looks straight out of a top-tier fantasy anime. The world is deep and mysterious. Humans once borrowed divine power from the gods to defeat the fallen angels, but centuries later, that sealed magic has started to awaken again. Now it's your turn to step into this chaotic new world, meet beautifully designed heroines, and uncover the secrets that lie beyond the Cherry Continent. Every character feels alive, not just eye candy, but full of personality, charm, and story. And yeah, those adult scenes, let's just say they're on another level. Animated with care, style, and full Japanese voice acting. And right now, there's a special in-game event you seriously don't want to miss. The Sweetie Fox collaboration event, live from October 22nd to November 5th. Sweetie Fox, who was getting ready for her big stage performance, suddenly finds herself in the Cherry Continent, right in the middle of a wild Halloween celebration. The lights, the tricks, the chaos, and Sakiko's little prank, yeah, things get interesting. During the event, you can unlock exclusive Sweetie Fox illustrations, voice lines, and special adult scenes made just for this collab. So if you're into fantasy worlds, beautiful heroines, and gorgeous anime art, you've got to check out Cherry Tail, available right now only on Arrow Labs. Click the link in the description or pinned comment to start your journey. Again, that's Cherry Tail, the adult fantasy where fairy tales come alive. Now let's dive back into reality, or what's left of it, and dive into the top 10 harem anime that will make you question reality. To start off, we have Ruler's Crown. This series dives into the classic battle for the throne narrative, blending political intrigue with fantasy spectacle. The protagonist isn't just another adventurer, he's a reincarnated contender for the crown, armed with the knowledge of his past life and the ambition to reshape the kingdom. Immediately, the premise sets him apart from standard overpowered leads by embedding his strength into a larger web of strategy and governance. And of course, bro has his own harem, but the strongest aspect of Ruler's Crown is its scale and action. It doesn't just focus on flashy duels, it dives into alliances, betrayals, and the slow burn of political maneuvering. And the battles themselves are sharp, often tied to ideological clashes, and although it has some pretty big pacing issues, it shouldn't bother you that much, because you degenerates will be watching it for the harem anyways, so go ahead and give it a try. Then at number 9, we have Even Given the Worthless Appraiser class, I'm Actually the Strongest. This series takes the standard reincarnated with a weak class premise and flips it with a satisfying twist. The protagonist, initially mocked for his useless role, gradually discovers that his ability to analyze and manipulate stats, items, and abilities makes him not just valuable, but unstoppable. And that's the appeal of this show. But all that said, I have some problems with this anime, and it's the same problem I had with other shows like Mashle. And that's the fact that the story is just way too predictable. Supporting characters sometimes exist just to highlight the hero's brilliance, which undercuts ensemble chemistry. And whenever a problem appears, you know nothing is going to happen, because the main character isn't gonna die, and the side characters are too useless to even have a death scene. Still, I'd say that this is an entertaining show, so if you have a lot of free time on your hands, give this show a shot. Then at number 8, we've got The Shy Hero and the Assassin Princess. This anime takes the overpowered protagonist formula and twists it by giving the main character an unusual flaw: crippling shyness. On paper, the hero has everything: destined power, a harem of deadly assassin princesses, and the ability to topple kingdoms. But the problem is that this dude is even worse than a tsundere. He's so socially awkward that it even makes me feel confident. The dynamic with the assassin princesses keeps the show lively. Each princess embodies a classic archetype: the apathetic warrior, the playful trickster, and the aloof beauty. Hubba. Their devotion to the shy hero leads to plenty of comedic misunderstandings, as he can barely handle their affection, let alone their lethal skill sets, but the joke of his shyness does wear thin. The balance between comedy and character growth isn't always consistent, and after a while, it really makes you crave more development beyond endless blushing and stammering. Still, the novelty of pairing overwhelming power with crippling awkwardness gives the series its own identity in the crowded fantasy action landscapes. Up at number 7, we have From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. This story taps into one of anime's most enduring archetypes, the underestimated underdog who turns out to be a prodigy. The protagonist begins as a simple villager, mocked for his humble background, but reincarnation gifts him swordsmanship instincts and combat awareness that put him leagues ahead of his peers. From the first duel, it's clear he isn't just a country boy anymore. He's a walking cheat code. And the action is actually a highlight here. The sword fights are cleanly choreographed and brimming with style, giving the main character chances to flex his growth. Watching him dismantle arrogant nobles or flashy warriors is really satisfying. And that's also the problem, because apart from the main character, every other character is more boring than cardboard. Still, if you want to watch it for the harem and fan service aspect, you probably won't be disappointed. After that, at number 6, we have Watari's XX is on the brink of collapse. Wait! Hear me out! Don't close the video. This is actually a pretty good show. This series thrives on chaos. The title itself sets the tone. Watari, the unlucky protagonist, finds himself surrounded by a cast of eccentric characters whose personal issues keeps dragging his life into complete chaos. The story balances comedy and drama, and the main character is the glue holding everything together. Except that instead of sarcastic monologues, he's battling a collapsing house of cards built from the quirks of his classmates and friends. Here, the comedy is sharpest when the absurdity piles up. One moment, the main character is juggling school pressures. The next, he's knee-deep in a ridiculous scheme that threatens to blow up his social life. The exaggeration is part of the charm, creating a sense that the world around him could implode at any second. It's a fun, frantic energy that makes the show easy to binge, but the downside comes with consistency, because this show sometimes relies too heavily on slapstick and over-the-top melodrama. Plot threads start strong but occasionally disappear, leaving some episodes feeling like complete fillers. Still, the cast makes it work. Each supporting character brings distinct chaos and really helps the overall feel of the anime, and it genuinely is a fun watch. And at number 5, we have the Shiunji family children. This series takes the chaotic family trope and cranks it up to 11. The Shiunji household is packed with siblings, each with outsized personalities, quirks, and rivalries that keep the story in constant motion. If the quintessential quintuplets was about romance and Oren High School Host Club was about comedy chaos, then this show is a hybrid of those two exactly. Endless sibling drama, comedic misunderstandings, and just enough heart to keep the chaos from feeling empty. Each sibling brings something distinct to the table, from the overly responsible elder sister to the bratty younger ones who specialize in stirring trouble. And the protagonist gets tossed into this family storm, forced to navigate daily disasters while carving out his own identity. It's messy in the best way. Every episode promises some new flare-up of rivalry or bonding, but with such a large cast, the downside is inevitable. Not everyone gets equal attention. Some siblings feel underdeveloped, existing more as archetypes than distinct characters. Even with these flaws, the show is filled with energy and refreshing humor. So watch it if you have some free time. And at number 4, we have Summer Pockets. If this list were only based on the overall vibes of an anime, then this would have been at number 1. The protagonist arrives on a quiet island for the summer only to find himself entangled in relationships that stir buried emotions and supernatural undertones. And as I said before, the strongest element here is the atmosphere. The island setting oozes nostalgia from quiet beaches to summer festivals, creating a mood that immediately pulls you in. The supporting female leads each embody different flavors of charm and melancholy, their arcs peeling back layers of loss, memory, and healing. It's a slow burn experience rewarding viewers who savor character-driven drama over action spectacle. But like many visual novel adaptations, Summer Pockets struggles to balance multiple heroine routes in limited screen time. Some arcs feel rushed and others lack the emotional punch. Compared to Clannad After Story, which built devastating impact through gradual build-up, Summer Pockets sometimes feels like it's sprinting toward its emotional payoffs. Still, when it hits hard. The emotional core, the ache of fleeting summers, of bonds forged under the shadow of loss, it's undeniable. After that, at the third spot, we have 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. Now, this is the life every otaku fantasizes about while touching his body pillows at night. Or right now. Yeah, I'm looking at you, pal. Anyways, this anime dives headfirst into the otaku cosplay fantasy, and it's surprisingly self-aware. The protagonist is a hardcore 2D only type. Swearing off real-life girls in favor of his favorite manga heroine, his world gets shaken when he meets a passionate cosplayer who embodies his fictional crush with uncanny accuracy. And the result is a story that explores the blurry line between 2D admiration and 3D affection. The main character's overreactions to the girls' cosplay performances are exaggerated but hilarious, and the cosplaying itself is beautifully presented, celebrating the artistry and commitment that goes into it, which makes the anime feel like a love letter to fans. But where this anime falters is in pacing. The early episodes nail the comedic beats and awkward charm, but the story sometimes stalls by relying too heavily on fan service instead of character growth. Ririsa is magnetic as a lead, yet her dynamic with Okamura risks becoming one note without fresh challenges. Compared to a balanced rom-com like My Dress Up Darling, which blends cosplay passion with authentic emotional arcs, 2.5 Dimensional Seduction sometimes leans too hard into spectacle over substance. That being said, its energy is infectious, and overall it's a pretty enjoyable show. Then at the runners-up spot, we have Tying the Knot with an Amagami Sister. Now, when I first started my anime journey, if anyone told me that I would be talking about an anime with a title like this, I would have thrown myself into the ocean. Believe me, I would have thrown myself into the ocean. Anyways, this anime throws the protagonist into a dramatic family setup with a high-stakes twist. He's adopted into the Amagami household under the condition that he marries one of the three sisters. What unfolds is a mix of domestic slice of life, emotional bonds, and romantic tension reminiscent of Domestic Girlfriend. No, it's nothing like that. That crap called Domestic Girlfriend is way too messed up. The series thrives on emotional contrasts instead. The eldest sister is strict and disciplined, embodying responsibility. The middle sister is carefree and teasing, and the youngest is basically a tsundere. The chemistry feels natural, and the story carefully avoids making the sisters feel interchangeable, giving each her own arc. Now, the story does make an effort to soften this with genuine emotional beats and careful pacing, but the underlying condition is that Uryu must choose one, always looming over the relationships, occasionally dampening the natural chemistry with forced drama. In the end, Amagami Sisters delivers both charm and controversy. It's heartfelt and engaging, but its premise will be polarizing. So, watch it with a grain of salt. But at the top spot of today's list, we have Dealing with the Mikadono Sisters is a breeze.
For God's sake, what in the hell is everyone's obsession with sisters?
Anyways, this series is a playful twist on the sudden new family trope. The protagonist finds himself thrust into a household where three sisters, each with wildly different personalities, are you noticing the trend here in this list? Constantly tests his patience and adaptability. And if you think something like this might actually happen to you in real life, well, I actually know this great ward down the street here. You know what? You just take a left down Misery Street and then take a right on Hysteria. They have some really good happy pills there. Just saying. Go back to sleep, mate. You're daydreaming too much. On the surface, the premise sounds like a standard rom-com setup, but instead of playing every scenario for cheap harem antics, the show leans into comedy born from clashing lifestyles, misunderstandings, and the chaos of domestic life. However, the series doesn't fully escape the pitfalls of its genre. The dynamic can feel repetitive after several episodes, since many conflicts recycle the same beats. For perspective, let's put it all on paper. The sisters fight, the main character tries to mediate, then chaos ensues. And that's the plot of every episode in a nutshell. Still, Mikadono Sisters succeeds in delivering exactly what it promises: breezy fun. It doesn't aim for depth, but it thrives on the chemistry of its cast. If you enjoy anime that embraces slice-of-life antics with a comedic harem edge, this show scratches that itch. Well, that's the list for today, guys. If you made it this far, please be sure to comment on which anime you think should have been on this list, or which one you're gonna watch next. Also, if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button and become part of the family. And don't forget to press on that bell icon and set us all to be notified about all our latest new videos. And as for now, I'll catch you later. See you in the next one.